So today we have another version of Mill. We played Mill a while ago, but this is a many cards different version of it. So this list comes to us from a viewer, Valentin S, who emailed me this list with notes. So this list is verbatim from them. I didn't make any changes. And they sent me a whole bunch of notes on all the cards in the deck with reasons for playing all of them. So I will read those off now. So Valentin says, overall, it is a pure blue, mono blue tempo deck, which buys itself time over bounce spells and a more refined sideboard depending on what the opponent is doing. Bounce spells are not straight removal, but cause either headaches on what the opponent should play for the mana. They also happen to be straight up time walks more often than not, therefore things like Shieldred or Questing Beast are pretty mid against the deck. They specify that good to okay matchups are Scales, which I'm not sure what they're referring to there, because I'm pretty sure Hardened Scales is not a Pioneer deck, but okay. Anything mid-range, Fox Boggles, not sure what they're referring to with that. Most combo decks, and then they say, believe it or not, Phoenix and Greasefang, which they specify are 50-50 matchups depending on the starting hand. And they say the bad matchups are Merfolk, Spirits, Humans, and Control in Game 1, but Games 2 and 3 are even. So just to cover this, Ashiok, 1 against Graveyard Strategies to eventually draw in Game 1, and then 2 more in the sideboard over here if needed. And they also shut down Search and trigger the Fraying Sanities. Blink of an Eye as ability to bounce stuff, including Walkers, Jeskai Ascendancy. Engulf the Shore as mass bounce, and there's another one in the sideboard. Fabled Passages because they synergize with the Ruin Crabs as the only really actual playable fetch lands in Pioneer. Fading Hope as another bounce land, but it's the cheapest one we can get, plus it scries. Field of Ruin blows up manlands, Nykthos, not Lotus Field, but Thespian Stage potentially, triggers the Crabs. Fraying Sanity goes well with anything that we're using to mill our opponent. Then another card that I had not even heard of until they said, Gadwick's First Duel. So this is a Chapter 1, you create a Cursed Roll token attached up to one creature, so the creature becomes a 1/1. Chapter 2, Scry 2. Chapter 3, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell with mana value 3 or less this turn, copy it, you may choose new targets for the copy. They say they are not totally sold on this. 1 doesn't do much most of the time, 2 is good, and 3 has the potential to close games with Maddening Cacophony. Then Ipnu Rivulet as a land that also mills to mill our opponent out in the late game. 14 islands, because we need a maximum island count for Engulf the Shore. Jace the Perfected Mind, every mode viable, don't underestimate the -2, so this is +1 until your next turn up to one target creature gets -3/0. -2, target player mills 3, then if a graveyard has 20 plus cards, you draw 3, otherwise you just draw 1, and -X, target player mills 3 times X. Maddening Cacophony, which is on 2 mana, mill 8, or on 6 mana, mill half, and it combos with Fraying Sanity to mill our opponent's entire deck if we have 6 mana to kick it. 1 copy of Mystic Sanctuary to rebuy spells such as Cacophony, and it's also an island for Engulf the Shore. 4 copies of Overwhelmed Apprentice. Gives us mill and scry on turn 1 and is sort of a blocker. Valentin says that they're good in the early game to smooth out draws, and at least they're not a brick in the late game since they mill and scry. Then Profane Memento. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you gain 1. They say it is overlooked for the longest time. The card single-handedly buys you a turn or 2 against the aggressive decks. It is the turn 1 play most of the time if you have it. This or Overwhelmed Apprentice or Crabs if they have push or something. Then obviously Ruin Crab. Mill. 1 Solundi Vision. Look at the top 6, reveal an instant or sorcery, put it into your hand, but it's also just a land on the other side. Specifically, it's a land that later in the game can tutor up, well, not tutor up, but look for Maddening Cacophony. And then Unsubstantiate, bounce creature or spells, good against control and anything Delve, because Delve exiles for cost. Also handles uncomfortable ETBs and cripples the opponent's curve if they are more aggressive. One of the top cards, believe it or not. And then specifically on the sideboard, we have Anti-Cognition. Counter target creature or planeswalker unless they pay 2. If an opponent has 8+ cards in the grave, instead counter it straight up and scry 2. Counters important creatures, planeswalkers, scries 2. Ashioks. Defabricate. Choose 1 counter target artifact or enchantment. If the spell's countered, you exile it. Or counter target activated or triggered ability. Shuts down several things, can disrupt combos, deals with Ascendancy. The Engulf the Shore, 4 Mystical Disputes for the control matchups, and then 3 Tashas, which they say it's not in the main because it does too little against most decks. They specify that it mostly exiles 15 cards at the high end, and usually less. Only sideboard it against low mana value decks like Amalia and Soul, etc. So, and then down here, yeah. So that's the deck. So straight up on the mono blue version instead of black and blue. So the main benefits to black are that you get Thoughtseize and like Fatal Push and just actual removal spells. You can also potentially play Drown in the Loch in black-blue. Mono blue has the benefit of better mana so that you're not wasting time on like potentially getting color screwed depending on what you're doing, and being able to play Engulf the Shore. Anyways, that is Mill by Valentin S. So let's run a league and see how well we can do with this. All right, round one, we're on the draw. This hand does definitely not look great. It doesn't have much going for it, especially because we're on the draw. I think we have to mull this. So mull. All right, this is a lot better. So what am I putting back? Probably one of the Cacophonies. Blackcleave Cliffs. Thoughtseize. Well, that's bad. I guess I would assume based on our hand they would take Jace because it's the only like card advantage thing we have. Profane Memento's probably going to be completely dead in this matchup. Yeah, they took Jace. All right, play Ruin Crab. Fatal Push the Crab. Well, it really doesn't feel like a good idea to just waste these Cacophonies right now. So let's play Profane Memento and wait, because they get so much better if we draw Fraying Sanity. Inti. Well, we can't wait around doing nothing. So Memento, Cacophony. Mill, gain a bunch of life. Over to them. It's also such a risk milling them when they have Croaks in their deck. Discards a land with the Inti. Oh my god, they got Croaks off of that trigger. So our Maddening Cacophony goes away, and then I guess one of their lands is Mutavault, so they won't be able... Oh, okay. Graveyard Trespasser? All right. We are on a clock here. Light Step. Well, Feign Memento. I guess I'll just pass. How much am I taking here? 6, 7, more with the Den. They attack. We're just like... The problem is the Cacophony alone is just nowhere near enough to actually mill them out. Go for the throat off the top. That's fine. So we take a whole bunch of damage. We're at 10. I probably have to cast this in order to not die. Overwhelmed Apprentice. All right, play that. Trigger. They're going to push it. Sure. What does Gadwick do here? Just nothing? Yeah, all right. So bottom both of these. And then I can't wait. So cast Cacophony. Bunch of triggers. Is Croxa in here? No. Thoughtseize off the NT, which is irrelevant, but we're taking so much damage that we're going to probably die in 2 hits. All right, we're at 11. I think we just lose next turn, right? Yep. We just lose next turn.
All right, so what are we doing against Rakdos? They've got Croxa, so that's a consideration against their graveyard. What else? They're also just pretty aggressive now between like all their aggro creatures and Shieldred. So I probably need what? Anti-Cognition, Engulf. So the Profanes, even though they put in work that game, are probably just generally not good, especially like it seemed like they put in work, but what they actually did was replaced other cards that we could have drawn instead. So I don't know if you're supposed to keep this in against Rakdos, but it feels wrong. And then can I board in Tasha's in this matchup? They have a lot of 3s and some 4s. Ashiok doesn't seem terribly good either. Even though, yes, it gets rid of Croxa. They can also just, like, bin and reanimate Croxa on the same turn, potentially. Although Ashiok will preemptively get rid of stuff in their graveyard, but I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to actually, like, protect Ashiok. I'm not sure. All right, well, I'm out of time. Let's run that. All right, this seems acceptable. We'll keep this. So Overwhelmed Apprentice, Crab, and Field of Ruin on top. All right, I don't want Field of Ruin, but I do want Crab. So let's bottom this, top this. Blood Crypt, Thoughtseize. Well, they took our Saga, so we're gonna play Crab. Play land, trigger, and I guess I'm attacking them. Mutavault. Play Stomp on this dude, sure. All right, Island, trigger. I guess I just hold up Unsubstantiate. Land number 3. Plays Fable. Do I bounce that or do I just bounce the token? I don't even think I bounced the token, right? It feels wrong to not do anything this turn, though. Let's just bounce this. Jace. All right, play Jace. So they have 9 cards in their graveyard. So let's mill them and draw. All right, back to them. Obviously, if they have removal spell, they can kill Crab and then animate Mutavault and just kill Jace. But I feel like just plussing him here is not great. Thoughtseize us. Takes Cacophony. Inti. All right, so they still get the loot trigger off of this if I don't kill it. So Fabled Passage, trigger, then Fetch, Island, trigger. So plus targeting here. I can actually just bounce it, so I don't have to make the decision yet. I'm probably not going to, though. I'm probably just going to hold up to bounce whatever it is they cast this turn. Animates Mutavault. All right, in that case, I'm going to blink of an eye, Inti. So kicker this, drew another Crab, 3 mana, Fable. All right. They have 19 in their graveyard, so I can draw 3 if I kill my Jace, which seems possibly good enough. I don't think I have the time. Then if a graveyard has 20 plus cards, yeah, all right, let's do that. So mill them, then we draw 3. All right, so, ooh, we drew Fraying Sanity. Crab, Ipnu, triggers, play Fraying, then end step. How much did they mill this turn? A lot.
We still haven't hit a Croxa. Does that mean they just don't have them? They must, though, right? Or did they board them out in this matchup? Animates Mutavault for some reason. I guess they can grow it, but they can only grow one of their things, and I can block the other one. So I don't know what the point of animating Mutavault there is. Discards Fable. Fatal push on top, or on exile. Push one of our crabs. Sure, we'll just block the Shaman. And then they put 2 cards in their graveyard this turn, so Fraying mills them another 2. And then they're just dead to Ipnu. Ipnu, trigger, mill you. So they just straight up don't have Croxa in their deck, or they sideboarded them out. I mean, that seemed fine. Tasha's may actually be better than this thing. I'm not sure. All right, let's run back the same thing. This seems decent. We've got Crab into Fetch Land. Tapped Haunted Ridge. All right, Crab. Pushes our Crab. All right, plays a Black Cleave. Back to us. Well, unfortunately, all of our stuff's entering tapped, so let's just play the Sanctuary tap, and then back to them. Swamp. Smuggler's Copter. All right, that's a great play, because then we can just bounce whatever creature they play. So Fabled Passage, and then... or even bounce the Copter. I'll just pass back to them. Thoughtseize. I mean, all right, yeah, Thoughtseize resolves. So they'll take one of our 2 bounce spells, or Fraying. Took Unsubstantiate. Plays Inti. Cruise the Copter. All right, fetch, grab an island. We will bounce the Copter. All right, Fraying on you, back to you. Replays the Copter, then attack, and chooses not to discard, so we take 2 and go to 18. And then this triggers, but doesn't mill anything. Land number 4? No. All right, is it better to play Jace or this? So the thing is, if I play Jace on 4, so it's between 18 milled and, because I'm milling either 9 or 15, so it's between 18 and 30 mills per Jace. I guess the Overwhelmed Apprentice is better for next turn, right? So Overwhelmed Apprentice, like I need to find land number 4, and then I can kill them by just slamming Jaces back and back. Trigger this. Fatal push our dude. Huh. I was gonna Fading Hope their guy. I think I'm still supposed to do that. Yeah, it's fine if they kill this. All right, 2 lands on top. So we don't need both of these. So let's just leave. Let's put Island on the bottom and Field on top. And then pass back to them. Frank Sanity triggers. They mill some more. Cruise the Copter. All right. I will bounce the Copter. Just keep the pressure off. Leave this on top. Replays the Copter. All right. Jace. We've got him dead in 2. Minus X. U. All the counters. So mill 15. Then Frank Sanity triggers. Mill another 15. And then they're dead to Jace next turn. They brought in Path of Peril. Shieldred. Yeah, that's fine. We're still killing them. I mean, they know we have Jace in our hand. So, like, Jace, minus X. Invoke Despair. So they just, like, sided out all their aggro. All they have is Blood Tithe Harvesters, and they, like, sided out all their Bone Crushers and Grave Trespassers. 1 Grave Trespasser still here. They sided out creatures, but kept in Copters. Double Fraying Sanity with the Ruin Crab. Keep. And Jace. Castle Ardenvale. So that's usually control, right? Play Crab. Yeah, all right, it's control. Oh man, not being able to resolve anything is magic. Get Lost our Crab. Another Crab! All right, let's mill them. Trigger, fetch, island, trigger, over to them. We did mill over Memory Deluge, but whatever. I mean, that's gonna happen when we're playing mill. Temp Lockdown, yeah, maps go away, Ruin Crab goes away. All right, let's just get Jace out and start drawing, I guess. Jace, mill you and draw. They did not have another land. What does this do? Okay, so let's play Ashiok or Fraying Sanity. No, let's just play Fraying Sanity. It's going to be a while before they can actually cast this Deluge. So Fraying Sanity on you. Absorb. All right, that's fine. Plus Jace, over to them. Hallowed Fountain, Shocked In. Wandering Emperor main phase? Why now? I'm baffled. All right, what's the best move here? I mean, I can target this and then it can't even kill Jace. So do I just like Fraying them again? I can also Gadwick and make this a 1/1. All right, plus here, play this, play Fraying Sanity. All right, I have no idea why they played Wandering Emperor on their main phase. Wandering Emperor, make another Samurai. Memory Deluge on the end step. When they could have cast that main and played another land, okay. Officially don't understand what's happening. And they're tapping out when they don't need to. They just absolutely don't need to tap out. So their land is 12, so if I go Cacophony, minus Jace, draw 3 cards, and then I can play another spell. All right. Actually, how much is double Cacophony? That's 16, and then they mill another 16, so they mill 32, and they have 5 cards left in their deck. Plus Jace, they die. Yeah, all right. Cacophony, Jace, Cacophony. All right, so Frank Sanity triggers, they mill everything. Boom. All right, what's in their deck? It looks like it's pretty typical fare. One thing I notice is that when they lose the game, the Fraying Sanity falls off of them. That's weird. How many Teferis are in here? 1, 2, There's 2 Teferis. How many counters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 counter spells with probably more to come in from the board. All right, so versus control, Mystical Dispute, Anti-Cognition can counter Planeswalkers, right? Yeah, so those, I doubt that Ashiok is that great, but Tasha's has to be horrible, right? So many of their cards are expensive. So let's see, Gadwix is probably awful. Fading Hope, terrible. Profane Memento is useless. So we actually have more to board out than to board in, so bring in Ashioks. Engulf the Shore is also not that good. Like, yeah, okay, sure, we can bounce like Samurai Token or something. Like, is that even good? What would I play instead of it? Gadwix? All right, let's do that. Only 1 land. No, we have 2 lands with the Salundi Vision, and we can scry as well. All right, this is keepable. So Apprentice, trigger, Crab on top, Sanity on top. Well, we need to find land number 3, so I probably can't keep either of them. So just bottom both of these. Hallowed Fountain, Shocked In. Well, there's another land. All right, Ruin Crab. Play this as a tap land because I doubt there's anything I'm going to need to dispute on turn 3. So play this, trigger the crab, go to combat. We milled 3 lands over. Attack. All right, and from here on out, we spend the rest of the game just holding mana open. Deserted Beach. All right, trigger the crab, combat, attack. I guess I can technically play Cacophony and still have Mystical Dispute open. All right, cast Cacophony and over to them. They milled Cutzel's Flanker, another Emperor, Chrome Host Seed Shark, Cutzel's Flanker flashed in. Sure. So they're going to put a counter on it, I guess? No, for each creature, they're going to gain 2, scry 2? Gain 2, scry 2. Yeah, that's fine. So I can actually trade with that with the Overwhelmed Apprentice next turn. Land number 4. Attacks with the Flanker, no blocks. Back to us. All right. At this point, not playing anything anymore. Just passing the turn. Cutzel's Flanker again. I probably do have to counter this. Counter that. Okay, so I don't want this. I do want Rivulet. So bottom that, top this. Attack, block. They're gonna Emperor here or what? Yeah, all right, that's fine. Just to give it a +1 counter. Yeah, that's all right. We lose Emperor. We lose Apprentice, and then we untap and Ashiok them. Play this. Trigger the crab. Play Ashiok. Mill you. 25 cards left in their deck. That's still a lot. I guess I will block this if they attack Ashiok, which they will, right? Yeah. All right, block here. Crab dies. Make a Samurai. Let's Apprentice first. Apprentice, trigger. Don't need another land. This is not going to work either, so bottom that. Cast Cacophony, veto. All right, well, Ashiok, mill. 19 cards left. They're still too far away is the problem, and they have all this power in play. They can definitely get Ashiok off the field this turn. Yeah. And then we can play a new Ashiok and hope that it doesn't get countered. But even so, it'll still ultimately... All right, so... Oh, they're just attacking us? They're attacking us. All right, block Cutzel's Flanker. Get lost on Ashiok. All right. Jace the Perfected Mind, which doesn't work so well with the Ashiok gone now. So this is 2 turn lethal. So they have to not have any more counter spells. All right, let's try Ashiok first. Veto. Nothing we can do about that. So Jace can mill them for 15, but that's short. Make a Samurai. So what if I play Jace and minus here? Then then it's 1, 4, 6 lethal with the Emperor. All right, so that's game. All right, I don't think I bring in like Engulf just to deal with the Cutzel, although Gadwix is like really bad. What if we actually Tasha's them? Bring in 1 Tasha's. Like this is the last spot that I don't know what this is. I guess the Ashiok doesn't really matter that much, and Tasha's is liable to hit more things than Ashiok is, so it should actually be 3 Tasha's, 1 Ashiok. So let's do that. Because if they have a bunch of creatures in play, then they can just kill Ashiok. We have 1 land and double Apprentice to find more. All right, I'll keep this. This is a lot of shots of finding. So Ipnu, Apprentice, trigger. Top card is technically a land, so top this, bottom this. A milled Cutzel and a Make Disappear. Tapped Hallowed Fountain. All right, so blue, Apprentice, trigger. I want both of these, so top this, and play this as a land. And we get to attack them for a whole 1 damage. All right, here come the counter spells. So Fraying, that resolved. I guess it's like if they just have Get Lost, it's fine if that resolves, right? Then they just go Get Lost, untap, temp lockdown. All right, they don't. Island. Chrome Host, Seed Shark. All right, let's just get Jace on the board while they're tapped out. So play Jace and plus on the Seed Shark. Combat. Attack. We deal a whole 1 damage. So I think I just need to be jamming stuff into them now because they just make transmutable or incubation tokens with the Seed Shark is the issue. I don't know why they're casting Memory Deluge right now. Is it just to ensure that it resolves? That seems so bad, because then they just let me cast whatever I want. If I minus Jace, the Seed Shark gets to attack Jace. This Incubator token can flip over. and then we just block it. I really don't like tapping out here, but also don't like just passing without doing anything. I guess I can bounce their Seed Shark with Unsubstantiate to at least get it off the board and still mill and draw. All right, so mill you, draw a card. All right, bounce the Seed Shark, and then we'll just pass with blockers open because damage is irrelevant. Fraying Sanity trigger, mill over some more cards. If they replay the Seed Shark, we can dispute it. I imagine, though, they'll just incubate token and we block, and then they still have 2 mana or 3 mana left open, depending. There we go. Incubator token, flips, attacks Jace. We just chump this, and they're just doing nothing. All right, cleanup step. This card's a deluge. All right, let's just plus Jace and make this incubator token smaller, and then let's just pass back to them. If they flash in Cutzel, we'll dispute it. Flash in Cutzel, yeah, we kind of have to counter this. I guess I don't have to. We just trade here, and this is only 1 damage to Jace. It just feels so bad allowing them to do that, and then they're just not going to tap out again, right? Yeah, let's just counter this. Field of Ruin. So this is a free block here, unless they have removal or Emperor, but then our Jace still survives that. They could tap out for Teferi, but whatever. Attack. All right, block. If they Emperor and plus it, that's fine too. Indeed, the Emperor. I just wish I could get more stuff in their graveyard so I can draw more cards with Jace. They only have 13. Are they going to get lost? Get lost on the Fraying Sanity, not the Jace. Kind of shocked. All right, so this definitely dies next turn. Therefore, I have no way of actually getting enough cards into their bin. How many cards am I going to hit with Tasha's? I'm actually not sure. So that being the case, I'm going to minus this anyway. I guess this can technically survive if I plus here, because then it's maximum 3 versus 4 loyalty. But that just seems so bad. Let's just force them to attack all their damage into a 1 Jace. I could also just mill them for 9, plus Fraying Sanity is 18. They still have a lot after that, though. All right, so it depends on how much we actually hit with Tasha's. So let's Tasha's and then decide which mode we want to put Jace on. So Tasha's, let's pop open their Exile. We hit 14 cards. That's pretty good. I still feel like I should just minus here so we can draw. All right, so back to them. It still like kind of forces them to send this at Jace, although obviously don't have to, but Field of Ruin or Mistgate. So they can activate Hall, but then they're tapped out. That's 7, 12, 13. They're just going to do that. All right, Hall it is. So they have us dead in 1 attack, and we maybe have them dead in 1 mill. 1 at Jace, 1 at us. Yeah. Tasha's is not going to hit 17 cards. So, like, make a Samurai. Yeah. Unsubstantiate. Unfortunately, we can't pay the ward on the Hall, but we can bounce the token, but then we're still just dead to Samurai plus Hall. So Tasha's has to hit 17 cards. That's just not going to happen. All right, Tasha's. Let's see what happens. Ba-bam. Tasha's. We got them to 5. Thought that was pretty good. Them are just dead, though. So, anything I need to look out for here? There's not a single Teferi in this pile. All right. Well, it is what it is. All right, we're on the play for round 3. We have 1 land, but again, we've got Overwhelming Apprentice to find more, but we need to find more than just 1 land. We need to find 2 lands, right? Although if we find 1 land, the Gadwick can scry again to find another land, so I will keep this. All right, Island, Apprentice, trigger, top 2 cards are lands. Let's go. Top this, back to them. Copperline Gorge, Elf, so probably the Gruul Vehicles deck, and they also Copperline Gorge, Elf to mill, so Ruin Crab, Fable, trigger. All right, let's attack them with this Apprentice. We milled 3 lands over. So I put the lands in the wrong order. I needed to play... Actually, it doesn't really matter because they both would have entered tapped anyway. But this prevents me from fetching now. All right, block here. So Rabble Master. So it's just like Gruul Stompy. All right, so... Man, the fact that these both enter tapped and we can't play anything this turn is so bad. All right, Sanctuary, trigger. I'm definitely fetching. So Island, trigger. And then we can't play anything, so over to them. It's a bunch of just like big stuff. Embercleave, Lovestruck Beast. We're milling a lot of lands over. And they still have lands. Legion War Boss. So it's just all of the goblin stuff. Well, this is rough. So here. This is where an Engulf the Shore would come in handy. Blossoming Defense on one of the goblins. What is this? Blossoming Defense. We drew another Gadwicks. So I can chump block this guy next turn. And then I'm taking 4, 5, 6, 7... potentially 8 damage, so there's no way I can mill them out fast enough for that to matter. I have to like Gadwicks into like double mill or something. Or I guess I can Fraying Sanity, Jace, that's not enough. There's just no way any of this combination is enough, right? I play Jace and tick it up on here, and that's only delaying for a turn. All right, Jace plus on the Warball. I guess this thing is more damage, but I'm probably chumping this thing, so plus here. Over to them. Trigger, and now what's going where? Or is just everything at me? Is everything at me? Yeah, all right, so block the Rabblemaster. Ember Cleaves, very cool. All right, so we bring in Engulf, we bring in, I guess, Anti-Cognition, and that's it. Taking out Ashiok, we're never protecting this. Profane is fine, Fading Hope's fine. I don't think I'm ever getting to the point where I have like 4 up to blink of an eye, so this is just 2 bounce, just not very good. What else? What do these Gadwicks do? Like the fact that it's just a bunch of Rabble-masters that just keep making tokens even though you turn them into 1/1s just makes these not good, so they're probably actually worse than just blink of an eye. So let's just cut all of those. 1 land again with Overwhelm Apprentice. So, and once again, we don't need to just draw 1 land, we need to draw multiple lands. I guess like 1 land we have Counterspell. No, but then we still need to draw more action after that. We can't just like keep bouncing their stuff. Yeah, we need more lands in this. Mult. All right, well, we'll keep this and put Mystic Sanctuary back. So I don't technically need anything specific right now, so let's just play Profane Memento first. Turn 1 elf. All right, I may actually have to just bounce that, right? So Overwhelmed Apprentice, trigger. Top cards, Overwhelmed Fraying. I want Fraying. We need more action. This technically finds us more action the next turn, sort of. So let's top, then this, and then let's just bounce this back to their hand. Top. All right. I doubt they have any 2-drops in their deck. It feels like it's just always just elf into 3-drops. And that's all we saw last game as well. Double elf. No red mana, though. All right, so play this, play Fraying, and over to them. Inti, they do have 2-drops. They were just missing red. Lovestruck Beast. All right, well, we're on a pretty quick clock next turn. Field, Overwhelming Apprentice, trigger, don't want lands, bottom that. Memento triggers, guess we just pass it back. So they can trample their Lovestruck Beast, and then what? Stormseeker, ugh. So if they attack here, they have to give this the trample and not this, because then otherwise we can double block Inti. Even though I just bottomed those 2 lands, I think I have to Field of Ruin this Hydra. Discards a Karplusan, reveals Karplusan Forest off the top. All right, so let's just chump Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, because they're going to give it trample next turn, so let's just block here. End of turn, Field of Ruin, the Hydra. They don't have another basic. Well, now I wish I had killed the Stomping Ground. Mill, Profane Tutor. All right, and now we're just drawing off the top, and we need to hit really good. A land is not really good. Back to them. Rending Volley, our dude. How much are we taking here? 3, 5, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we need to draw Engulf the Shore off the top. Actually, Engulf the Shore doesn't even bounce Lovestruck Beast, but it does bounce the elves, meaning it can't attack. All right, so yeah, we basically just have to draw Engulf the Shore off the top. Or, no, yeah, it has to be Engulf the Shore. They exiled Vinemare? I guess I'm not going to get another opportunity to use the Ipnu Rivulet, so let's use it now. So target them, sack this, because if we draw Jace off the top, this can kill them. So resolve Memento, resolve Fraying Sanity. Jace off the top wins the game. Jace off the top, Jace off the top, Jace off the top. Nope. All right, we're dead. On the play for round 4, we have, all right, this looks okay, although we do need to find a 3rd land. So play Island, play Profane Memento, over to them. Do this one first because we can just play Crabland next turn anyway, and this makes it so that we at least get 1 trigger instead of just having Crab get killed. All right, Crab, Fabled Passage, trigger. Fatal Push, respond, sack, get an island, trigger. So it looks like it's the Waste Not deck. Appears to be just mono black. All right. So that being the case, let's Fraying Sanity them. Castle Locthwain. Graveyard Trespasser. Eating the Gifted Aetherborn. Another Fraying Sanity, you say? That sounds pretty good to me. Fraying Sanity. Do I have the time to, like, I can Cacophony and then I perhaps have the time to Field. It depends on if I draw an island or not. I don't think I have to play this right now, so let's just pass. Also, if they Thoughtseize it out of my hand, I want to be able to get it back. This looks like a Shieldred, and it indeed is a Shieldred. Eats the crab. All right, so let's see. Let's go. I can mill them for, say, 8, 10, so 30, but that doesn't actually kill them. And I can't play a spell without playing Mystic Sanctuary first. All right, I think I just don't have the time to wait. Yeah, so I really didn't have the time to wait. I needed to play this last turn so I could blink Shieldred this turn. So that being the case, let's just, I guess I don't have to Field either. So Overwhelmed Apprentice, trigger, Unsubstantiate Fading Hope. All right, all of that is actually good. It just buys me a lot of time. But I don't need a million of these, so let's just, this just bounces a creature, period, right? Yeah, so this one's cheaper. So let's bottom Unsubstantiate, top this, then play this tapped. I'm just going to blink Shieldred back to their hand. I can actually just straight up block it this turn as well, and then reevaluate what I'm doing. They play something else. I doubt they will, though. All right, block here. Tapping for Graveyard. Trespasser. Trespasser. All right, eats my dude. That's fine. Blink of an eye. Bounce Shieldred. All right, Cacophony. Actually, I can field and then Cacophony, and that's more cards. Sacrifice, blow up one of these castles, I guess. It doesn't matter. Blow up a castle. Grab an island. So this is 6, and then do they have creatures in their yard? They don't. They will with after Cacophony hits them. So I'm going to take a lot, and then they can play Shieldred, and then I can bounce it an upkeep. All right, so Cacophony. Although if I hit creatures, then I'm mementoing some life back. Boom! Profane memento triggers. Oh, we won. I didn't think I was milling that much. I guess we milled a lot. Oh, right, because one fraying track stacks on top of the other. It's not double, it's quadruple. What's in their deck? Gifted, Invoke, Liliana, Removal, Murderous Rider, Sign in Blood. No Waste Knots. So it's just mono black mid-range. All right. Their deck does seem a lot slower than Rakdos. So Engulf the Shore. They don't have any graveyard synergies as far as I can tell. So Ashiok is not relevant at all. Their mana values, they have a lot of 3s. So Tasha's is probably not good. Anti-Cognition seems good. And then the Profane Mementos are, for the most part, just not going to cut it. Just cut those. Just use our bounce spells and counter spells to stop what they're doing. Does Gadwix do anything? Actually, Gadwix doesn't even do anything, right? Like, the Cursed Roll is actually complete garbage against them. So it's only good once you get to Chapter 3. I think it's probably still better than Memento, though. Is the first trigger mandatory? It's up to 1. Okay, so I don't have to target Graveyard Trespasser. Let's run this. That is a lot of crabs. Keep. Castle Locthwain. All right, play a crab. Aw, they didn't have a second land. Crab, land milieu, and then Overwhelmed Apprentice, because it doesn't matter whether we cast the crab now or later, so I want to make sure I'm drawing some lands. All right, I kind of want both of those, but I don't... They're missing land drops. All right, let's bottom this. Let's top island. They kept one single Castle Locthwain with a Fatal Push. What do they even take here? Just another crab, probably. Stop the mill, or if not that, Jace. They took the crab. All right, land. Trigger the crab. Jace. Well, let's draw a card. Milieu. Attack with the Apprentice. Thoughtseize us again, which is not like that helpful. They just take Maddening Cacophony. All right. Target nothing. Combat. Attack with this dude with multiple bounce and counter spells open, so they can't even do anything. Second land, finally. Duress us. I can unsubstantiate it, but then they just get it again. So yeah, that resolves. All right. Anti-Cognition is gone. Duress us again. I mean, sure. Drew Maddening Cacophony. All right, I think it's time to use this and cash in our Jace. So, Maddening, mill a bunch. I know I can keep this around, but like there's always the possibility that they just Bitter Triumph it or something. So, let's just Ancestral Recall while we can. All right, land, trigger, combat, attack. Land number 3, Liliana. Bounce that back to your hand. All right, another Maddening Cacophony, you say. I actually don't want to use that. I want to just blink of an eye. Probably Lily. So if they play Liliana, they can take it up to make us discard. And then I bounce Lily back to their hand, draw, and then we're discarding Engulf probably. All right, combat, swing. Or I just bounce my Overwhelming Apprentice back to my hand. Liliana, yeah, that resolves. Each player discards. Like this attacking, so the problem is like if I bounce it, well, it's at 4 counters, so it doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to bounce my Apprentice with Kicker. So we draw. All right, let's discard Engulf. They discarded Aetherborn. Oh my god. Ruin Crab. Field of Ruin. Crab triggers. Field of Ruin. The castle. I guess I don't have to do that now, right? No, then that puts them to 10 cards left in their deck, and then we mill, and they're dead, right? No, we're 1 short. All right. Blow up castle. Babamf. Island. Triggers. All right. Cacophony. Milieu. All right. They have 1 card in their deck. Aclazotz the Demon. Round 5 on the draw. 6 lands in Fraying. Does not look like it's going to get there. All right, 3 lands, Jace. So let's keep this and let's put Profane back. Although this hand's not great either, but we're not going to 5. All right, Spire Bluff, so probably Phoenix then. Phoenix is not great for us because they have Spell Pierce and can put some pressure on us with Phoenixes and whatnot. Although it does mean they have a bunch of removal spells that are basically dead cards. Also, milling them is bad. Ledger Shredder, yeah, so we can't mill them until like way later in the game. Field of Ruin. All right, Island, go. They are just attacking. All right. So if I play Jace here, and they have Spell Pierce, that sucks, but what can you do? All right, Jace, pay life, 3 mana. Free the Fae in response. Milling, they did mill Spell Pierce over, and Arclight Phoenix. And that means they get to connive Shredder. Yep, all right. Spell Pierce, Jace gets hit. Only run 2 Spell Pierces in their deck, and they found it. Can't pay it. I guess the fact that they mill over cards with Phoenix, or with the Picklock, and connive with the Shredder is also like a means for us to... They also draw a lot of cards off of cantrips and whatnot. It is a means of us getting their deck down faster. Opt, trigger, connive. All right, spell number 3. This will be the Treasure Cruise. Here's the Treasure Cruise. Phoenix comes back. All right, so we're taking a lot. My Jace can like technically prevent one of the Phoenixes from doing ish damage to me. I don't have a lot of other good stuff to do here. All right, play this. Play Jace. They have their other copy of Spell Pierce. All right, yeah. So versus Phoenix, I'm going to want probably Engulf, actually, because they have turns where they just tap out, put a bunch of things in play. Ashiok, Mystical Dispute. Exiling their stuff is actually better, but man, they have 4 Treasure Cruises in their deck. That makes like... So they have 4 Treasure Cruises in their deck and 4 Phoenixes, but then the rest of their deck is like a bunch of cheap spells. So I wonder how the average winds up with that. So let's see. For comparison, Rakdos mid-range has an average mana value of 2, and Phoenix has an average mana value of 2.4. So I guess it's not worth it. I'm not going to run Anti-Cognition just for Shredder. All right, what's bad? Profane Memento, they don't actually have that many creatures. And our creatures are kind of bad too. Like, just giving them targets for Lightning Axe seems really just not good. And they just mill them a little bit, but not a lot. And we can't even block any of their creatures with our creatures. So let's bring in Tasha's. And let's get rid of what? Which one's worse? Apprentice or Ruin Crab? It's probably the Ruin Crabs, right? Like, but it's like the tension between... We can't mill them that much early on, but we want to mill them a lot later. I'm going to cut all the apprentices and 3 crabs. All right, well, keep this. I don't even know if I play my crab on turn 1 or not. I think I do. Nah, it's probably just not good, actually. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to not play it. I'm probably not even playing this on turn 2 because I'm just going to wait. I don't want them to just tap out for Ledger Shredder. All right, I guess I am now because if they tap out for Shredder, I Jace it. Play this, play Gadwick's Duel. Yeah, well, there is a turn 2 Ledger Shredder. Oh, well. So draw, scry 2. All right, I actually can't play Jace on curve because of Mystic Sanctuary. Oh, jeez. I didn't even realize that. That is bad. All right, so what am I doing this turn then? I guess I'm just playing another Gadwick's Duel to shrink this. And then we definitely want a land on top. So let's top this, play this tapped, Gadwick's Duel again, target this, another Ledger Shredder, and a tap land. Well, this is awkward. All right, so I only get the double spell if I Cacophony right now, which is so bad with triggers, scry, Jace, Fraying Sanity. I mean, if they don't have that many counter spells, we can like slam all of this back to back a lot. I probably need to find interaction. I'm not sure though. Bottom this, top the Sanity. Then this resolves. So it's next instant or sorcery. So if I play Jace right now, it doesn't even matter. They can also just untap and put like a bunch of Phoenixes in play. All right, crab, land, trigger. Well, we're going to fill their graveyard up. They brought in Fable, Maddening Cacophony, Ledger Shredder triggers. We're all in on the mill out their whole deck plan now. We just can't get around them having a huge graveyard for Phoenix and Treasure Cruise, so let's just do it. This is 16. It puts them to 31, which is nowhere near enough. There's the Phoenix from their hand. Lightning Axe. Mill. Well, we only milled over... We didn't mill over any Phoenixes, and we did mill over a Treasure Cruise. All their Picklocks are in the graveyard. Treasure Cruise, let's try to counter it. Mystical Dispute, we actually countered it. Consider, double Shredder triggers, discards an Op. Does this not side Weathered Runestone or Cage? This version did not. They bend another Arclight, so it's a lot of damage this turn. A lot. They're at 24 cards in their deck. Jace is 15. Treasure Cruise again. Both the Phoenixes come back. The problem is they don't have to mill anything else, and then we are dead in 2 hits, and this Jace doesn't actually finish them off. And now they only have 11 cards in their graveyard, which makes Jace not lethal, makes Jace not able to recall. All right, so this thing triggers, and then I don't have a way to kill them with Jace, so I guess I'm just playing it and minusing and drawing a card. Although I don't think I have anything on 1 mana that matters. All right, play Jace. We're gonna die next turn anyway. Minus, target you. We drew Field. Right, well, we're still dead. What would my next draw have been? Like if I'd put Fraying on the bottom, it would have been another Fraying. All right. What if I'd put it there earlier and I'd been 1 card deeper? All right. That didn't matter. So only 2 and 3. Okay, so my problems with the deck. The Profane Mementos suck. Like, it doesn't matter that you're gaining life because it's not like Crypt Incursion, which sometimes like Dredge, or not Dredge, like Mill in Modern will play Crypt Incursion because Crypt Incursion is 3 life per creature. This is only 1 life per creature. Also, Crypt Incursion actually exiles all the creatures out of the graveyard, which matters. So this card, like, okay, yeah, sure, you gain some life, but then you're still just dying to whatever's on their board, and it's not a card that's interacting with them. Similarly, I do think you need some bounce spells. I don't know that you need this many. This card felt really bad. It just sucks. Like, the first mode is pretty garbage. The second mode is whatever. Only on the third mode is it actually any good, and the only card you're actually copying with it is basically just Maddening Cacophony. And so you've spent 2 mana to wait 3 turns to Maddening Cacophony an additional 8 cards. So it's like 2 mana Maddening Cacophony that you have to wait 3 turns to actually do anything with it, and you have to have the Cacophony. And like in that last game showed, it's really awkward because you have a turn where it's like, I want to play Jace this turn, but I can't because I need to cast Cacophony now or else I don't get the copy on it. So the Gadwix cards, these are also just crap. And then Ashiok has this problem of like, if exiling their graveyard or the anti-search clause is not relevant, then you're paying 3 mana to mill 4, and then you probably don't have a way to block, and then your opponent just kills Ashiok. So this can't be main. This has to be a card that you bring in specifically for matchups like Phoenix, Lotus Field, that kind of thing. What else? Tap lands suck. So Saloon Division, I never cast or was ever even close to casting this. And a lot of times it's just going to be a tap land. Same thing with Mystic Sanctuary, never came up even once, and actually screwed me over by it being a Mystic Sanctuary and not just another untapped land, because there were multiple games where I couldn't cast stuff on curve because I had to play Sanctuary. Potentially, you could fiddle with the numbers of Fableds and Ipnu Rivulets. I'm not sure you need 3 of these rather than just 2. I'm not sure that you can't just run 4 Fabled Passages, although, again, I don't like tap lands, so maybe 3 is fine. And then you've got all these bounce spells, most of which are just blech. There's also the problem of, like, man, Maddening Cacophony is just so bad. Like, Mill 8 is just not good. Even when you have Fraying Sanity, it's not even good, because you're just paying 2 mana to just do nothing. And then too many decks in this format also have mana values that are too high for Tasha's Hideous Laughter to be a good call. Again, like, there's just too many matchups where it's not useful. Even against Phoenix, where you're specifically looking to exile cards instead of milling them, their mana value is just too high in their deck because of Treasure Cruise. I never boarded in Defabricate even once. Anti-Cognition probably just needs to be a more generic counterspell, because only being able to hit creatures and walkers is an issue when you need to counter other things. And finally, the only real reason I can see for this deck being mono blue is basically it makes color fixing not an issue, which means you get to run Field of Ruin, which if this was a 2-color deck, you probably wouldn't be able to do. And it means you can run Engulf the Shore, but I don't think Engulf the Shore is even that good. And you're also playing lands that aren't islands. You're playing Ipnu Rivulets, and sometimes you have a Field of Ruin that you just don't have the time to actually crack. So there's going to be times when the Engulf the Shore is just not actually online. And basically, that's the only real reason to be mono blue. I feel like this could easily just be blue-black and get access to much better cards. Specifically, you would have access to Thoughtseize, Drown in the Loch, and other, like, good creature removal in Fatal Push, Black Sweepers, and that kind of thing. And then these guys were, like, okay. These were fine, but again, I feel like you could just play a better card than these guys. You probably just need the crabs in order to have enough mill, though. And also, every time I look at a deck like this that's milling so much, I want to have, like, a Treasure Cruise in here, but the problem is all the cards are milling your opponent. Now, technically, you can mill yourself. Like, Jace can target you. Ashiok can target you. Like, there are mill cards in here that can target you, but then that leaves you in this, like, awkward position where you're milling yourself in order to enable Treasure Cruise instead of milling your opponent. It'd be like if a burn deck was burning themselves in order to enable some card that said when you're at a low life total, something happens. So it was interesting, but I feel like there's a lot better of a version of this deck that exists that we just need to find.